Embarking on a journey around the world to discover the most astonishing wonders created by humankind is an exhilarating adventure. From iconic landmarks to hidden gems tucked away in lesser-known corners of the globe, every destination promises to unveil a unique story of human ingenuity and creativity. Throughout our journey, we'll encounter not only the famous structures that have stood the test of time, but also lesser-known treasures waiting to be discovered. From prehistoric wonders to majestic modern marvels, our expedition will traverse all continents, uncovering the rich tapestry of human achievement and imagination that spans the globe. The Stonehenge monument dates back thousands of years and today remains an impressive feat of engineering. Work began on Stonehenge about 5,000 years ago, but it was built in stages over many years. The stone circle dates from about 2500 BC. In the late Neolithic period, we don't know exactly how the stones were brought to Stonehenge, but some of them, the blue stones, came from the Preseli Hills in southwest Wales, over 150 miles away. Far from standing alone, Stonehenge forms part of a remarkable complex of connected prehistoric sites across the Wiltshire landscape. The Acropolis of Athens is, without a doubt, the most popular attraction of the Greek capital. This architectural marvel is living for over 2 millennia now. Set on top of a rocky outcrop, this iconic building has been fascinating the world with its golden history and incredible architecture. The Acropolis is dotted with myriad architectural masterpieces, the most iconic being the Parthenon. It's a grand temple dedicated to Athena. You'll be amazed to look at the columns built here. Petra is an ancient city that lies in present-day Jordan and dates back to the 4th century BC. Ruins of the once great metropolis and trading center now serve as an important archaeological site and tourist attraction. There are approximately 800 different structures or constructions, of which around 500 are just tombs. Petra's most famous monument, the Treasury, appears dramatically at the end of the Sick, used in the final sequence of the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The magnificent palace complex at Persepolis was founded by Darius the Great around 518 BC, although more than a century passed before it was finally completed. Conceived to be the seat of government for the Achaemenid kings and a center for receptions and ceremonial festivities, the enormous central hall of the Apodana could accommodate 10,000 guests. Its vast roof rested on heavy cedar beams supported by columns of different styles, almost 20 meters high. Hallstatt, a wonderful lake town located just 73 kilometers from Salzburg, in the Salzkammergut district, Austria. Surrounded by the Dachstein Mountains, this ancient land of the Austrian Alps, which looks like something out of a Brothers Grimm. A cluster of houses huddled next to each other on the edge of the mountains gives me magic and fantasy. And it's easy to understand why it was the source of inspiration for the fictional kingdom of Arendelle from the Frozen saga. Popeye Village, also known as Sweet Haven Village, is an immensely popular tourist attraction in Maliha, Malta. The village was purposely built as a film set which was later converted into a small attraction fun park. The live-action musical feature film Popeye, produced by Paramount Pictures and Walt Disney Productions, brought famous actors Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall to film the movie on the island. Mont Saint-Michel is a medieval abbey perched on a rocky islet just 240 acres located off the coast of Normandy. Renowned for its architectural marvel, the abbey rises dramatically from the bay during high tide. Built in the 8th century, it served as a place of pilgrimage and a fortress. The abbey's intricate Gothic spires, stout defensive walls, and during low tide, it serves as a natural sanctuary for various bird species like avocets, ospreys, and over 130 other bird types. The Alhambra is an ancient palace, fortress, and citadel located in Granada, Spain. The 8th-century-old site was named for the reddish walls and towers that surrounded the citadel. It's the only surviving Palatine city, a royal territorial center, of the Islamic Golden Age and a remnant of the Nasrid dynasty, the last Islamic kingdom in Western Europe. The complex is irregular in shape and surrounded by defensive walls. In all, the Alhambra spans nearly 26 acres, with more than a mile of walls, 30 towers, and numerous smaller structures. The Sabika Hill and its Palatine city are further surrounded by mountains, and Arab writers once likened Granada and Alhambra to a crown and diadem, respectively. The resplendent Shwedagon Pagoda stands tall as an epitome of devotion, history, and awe-inspiring beauty. With roots dating back over 2,600 years, the history of Shwedagon Pagoda is as captivating as the monument itself. Standing at a remarkable height of 99 meters, the Shwedagon Pagoda dominates Yangon's skyline with its shimmering facade of gold. The entire stupa is covered with around 27 metric tons of gold leaf, contributing to its breathtaking radiance. The central stupa is surrounded by smaller stupas, shrines, and pavilions that together create a mesmerizing labyrinth of architectural splendor. It's not just a monument, it's a living symbol of devotion, enlightenment, and unity. Standing in the heart of Beijing for over 6 centuries, the Forbidden City is a cultural beacon for the entire Chinese nation. Solemn, magnificent, and full of cultural significance. The Forbidden City represents the ups and downs of history with its graceful and elegant red. In the past, the palace was an imperial residence, a political center, an embodiment of supreme power, and a witness of radical change throughout history and time. Most of all, though, it is a gem of the nation's wisdom and culture. Today, it stands as an example of cultural heritage for the entire human race, inspiring awe in visitors from all over the world. It also has a new name, the Palace Museum. Cinque Terre is a rugged coastline on the Italian Riviera composed of 5 beautiful hillside villages: Monterosso, Vernazza, Corniglia, Manarola, and Rio Maggiore. All 5 of the villages are car-free, which makes them so much easier and more pleasant to get around when you're exploring on foot. Those lovely aquamarine waters that roll in and lap the shores of the villages are definitely something special to look at, and even better when you dive in for a dip. The unique biome of the water in the protected harbors of the villages is extremely rich and nurturing for a variety of marine life. It's why the fishing here is so prolific and the seafood is absolutely superb. The Colosseum is the main symbol of Rome. It's an imposing construction that, with almost 2,000 years of history, will bring you back in time to discover the way of life in the Roman Empire. During the Roman Empire and under the motto of bread and circuses, the Roman Colosseum, known then as Flavian Amphitheater, allowed more than 50,000 people to enjoy its finest spectacles. The exhibitions of exotic animals, executions of prisoners, recreations of battles, and gladiator fights kept the Roman people entertained for years. It is the best preserved amphitheater in the world, which manages to convey its charm century after century to anyone who visits it, regardless of age. The Colosseum has lived many lives and has been a spectator of numerous stories. Here are all its secrets. The Eiffel Tower has been a powerful and distinctive symbol of the city of Paris, and by extension, of France. At first, when it was built for the 1889 World's Fair, it impressed the entire world by its stature and daring design, and symbolized French know-how and industrial genius. A monument known around the world and a unique tourist attraction, the Eiffel Tower has loyally accompanied the people of Paris and its suburbs in their daily life. Rising to a height of 330 meters, it can be seen from all over Paris and beyond, day and night until 1 a.m. thanks to its lighting, the twinkling illumination at fixed times, and its beacon that reaches out to 80 kilometers at 360 degrees. The Taj Mahal is a breathtaking white marble mausoleum commissioned by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Located on the southern bank of the Yamuna River near Agra, India, the Taj Mahal took 22 years to build and finally reached completion in 1653. This exquisite monument, considered one of the new wonders of the world, astounds visitors for its symmetry, structural beauty, intricate calligraphy, inlaid gemstones, and magnificent garden. More than just a memorial in the name of a spouse, the Taj Mahal was a declaration of lasting love from Shah Jahan to his departed soulmate. Wat Pho, often known as the Temple of the Reclining Buddha, is one of the most beautiful temples in Bangkok. The official name of the temple is actually Wat Phra Chetaphan Wyman Mangalaram Ratchawar Mahayan. Wat Pho is famous for its giant 46 meters long reclining Buddha covered in gold leaf. The statue with the posture of sleeping or reclining Buddha is 15 meters high and 46 meters long. It is one of the largest Buddha statues in Thailand. The reclining Buddha in Wat Pho is the most beautiful statue because the palm feet were decorated with the mother-of-pearl inlaid work, which represents 108 auspicious symbols of the Buddha. Wat Pho is the reign temple of King Rama I. It is one of the 6 royal temples that are of the highest class of first-class royal temples. Orda Hisar is a charming tourist destination renowned for its hospitable locals, stunning stone houses, picturesque narrow streets, and magnificent churches. The town's namesake is the striking rock formation that resembles a castle, rising 90 meters above the ground. The castle has eroded over time, unveiling its interiors, and can be accessed via a staircase that provides a breathtaking view of the Orda Hisar valleys and the snowy peak of Mount Ursiais. Shirakawa-go is famously known for its traditional houses with steep, thatched roofs surrounded by lush nature. The fairy tale-like villages are located at the foot of Mount Hakusen, one of Japan's 3 holy mountains, along with Mount Fuji and Mount Tateyama. Gasso Zakuri means constructed like hands in prayer, which comes from the thatched roofs that resemble hands pressed together in prayer. The design allows the houses to bear heavy snow during the Shirakawa-go winter and create large attic spaces used for cultivating silkworms, which was the village's main industry. These houses are considered masterpieces because they were built without nails and have stood since the 1800s, even withstanding earthquakes. The Houses of Parliament and Elizabeth Tower, commonly called Big Ben, are among London's most iconic landmarks and must-see London attractions. Technically, Big Ben is the name given to the massive bell inside the clock tower, which weighs more than 13 tons. The Bell of Big Ben was named in honor of Sir Benjamin Hall, a politician and engineer who was responsible for the installation of the bell. It is said that Hall was tall and well-built, hence the name Big Ben. The sound of the Big Ben bell is very typical and has become one of the famous symbols of London. It is often used in a lot of media to mark moments related to London or the UK. This building is situated in Pisa, Italy. It is also known as a bell tower. This building is famous for its lean. The leaning is about 5.5 degrees. The building is built to serve as a bell tower. Afterward, it was famous worldwide as a leaning freestanding structure. There was a popular story that Galileo Galilei used the tower for his physics experiment. The tower now has 8 stories. The ground story consists of 15 marble arches, the middle stories have 30, and the top bell story consists of 15 marble arches. Inside the tower, 2 spiral staircases run up to the top. One consists of 294 steps, and another one has 296 steps. The additional 2 steps are required to compensate for the lean. Bagan is one of the world's greatest archaeological sites. Set amongst thick greenery on the Ayeyarwady River basin with misty mountains at a distance, the temples rise above the canopy of trees, presenting a picture-perfect scenery to visitors. At its peak, Bagan had over 10,000 Buddhist temples and monasteries, but over time, many have been destroyed due to earthquakes, weathering, and human activities. However, around 2,200 structures still remain today, making Bagan one of the most important archaeological sites in Southeast Asia. Bagan in Myanmar is also famous for beautiful pictures of hot air balloons floating over ancient temples, and balloon flights offer a unique perspective of the area's incredibly photogenic scenery. Hagia Sophia, originally built as a cathedral in Istanbul, Turkey, has a captivating history through the ages. Constructed in the 6th century by Emperor Justinian, it stood as an architectural marvel with its massive dome and intricate mosaics. It served as a significant Eastern Orthodox cathedral for nearly 1,000 years until the Ottoman Empire's conquest in 1453, transforming it into a mosque. The Ottomans added minarets and Islamic features, preserving its grandeur. In 1935, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk converted the mosque into a museum, recognizing its historical and cultural significance. However, in 2020, it was converted back into a mosque. Whether as a cathedral, mosque, or museum, Hagia Sophia remains a beacon of history, symbolizing the interwoven tapestry of civilizations that have shaped the world we know today. This Qasr, also known as the 8 bin Haddou Kasbah, is a prime example of the traditional earthen architecture of southern Morocco. The Qasr is made up of 6 kasbahs, which are fortified dwellings for local leaders and their families. The walls of the kasbahs are made of earthen materials, such as mud, straw, and wood, giving them a unique reddish hue that blends seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. The Qasr is said to have been built in the 17th century and has still managed to preserve its traditional Berber architecture and way of life. If you're a fan of movies and television shows, 8 bin Haddou is also a famous filming location. The Qasr has served as a backdrop for several Hollywood films, such as Lawrence of Arabia, Gladiator, and The Mummy. More recently, 8 bin Haddou was also featured in Game of Thrones, where it doubled as the city of Yunkai. Quavan Fishing Village is situated in Hungtang Commune. This place is home to over 176 households whose main livelihood is fishing. Visitors to this place will be amazed by the scene of a multitude of small boats and rafts anchored in front of colorful houses. One of the village's unique features is the construction of small houses, which are approximately 30 square meters in size and serve as homes for local fishermen. Each house boasts a vivid and striking color scheme, which is a distinctive characteristic of the area and attracts many curious tourists every year. La Sagrada Familia is an absolutely breathtaking church located in Barcelona, Spain. The architect behind this gem, which is still not completed, is none other than Antoni Gaudí. Though a long way from being completed, La Sagrada Familia was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984. It received the designation mostly because of its unique architecture and Gaudí's ability to create something so innovative and artistic. When La Sagrada Familia is completed, it will have 18 towers. 12 of the towers will represent the apostles, 4 of them will represent the evangelists, 1 will be designated for the Virgin Mary, and of course the last one, the highest one in the middle, will represent Jesus Christ. However, right now there are only 8 towers. Standing tall at the western end of the Champs-Élysées in Paris, the Arc de Triomphe is a symbol of France's rich history, indomitable spirit, and remarkable architectural prowess. The monument was envisioned as a symbol of victory, a grand gateway through which victorious armies would march, and a tribute to those who gave their lives in service to France. The Arc de Triomphe is a masterful display of neoclassical architecture, embodying the ideals of symmetry, proportion, and grandeur. The monument stands over 50 meters tall, with a width of 45 meters and a depth of 22 meters. Its central archway, flanked by smaller arches, is adorned with intricately carved sculptures and reliefs that depict scenes from French history and military victories. The Great Wall of China, a monumental feat of ancient engineering and a crucial fortification in northern China's history. It is believed that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure that can be seen from space. It is believed that several walls were being built as early as the 7th century BC, and these walls later joined together after China's warring states unified under the rule of Emperor Qi. The Great Wall spans thousands of kilometers from Shanhaiguan in the east to Lop Lake in the west. It is still standing tall in modern times and is the pride of Chinese people. The distance of the Great Wall almost covered half of the Earth's equatorial diameter. It is an incredible feat of engineering of China and the greatest handmade building structure ever built by mankind in ancient times. Located on the island of Java, the magnificent Borobudur Temple is the world's biggest Buddhist monument. The temple sits majestically on a hilltop overlooking lush green fields and distant hills. Built in the 9th century during the reign of the Sailendra dynasty, the temple's design and Gupta architecture reflects India's influence on the region. Yet there are enough indigenous scenes and elements incorporated to make Borobudur uniquely Indonesian. The monument is a marvel of design, decorated with 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues. The architecture and stonework of this temple has no equal, and it was built without using any kind of cement or mortar. The structure is like a set of massive, interlocking Lego blocks held together without any glue. Alberobello is a small Italian town like any other at a first glance. But if you take a closer look at some of the houses, you will think you landed in a fantasy book. Small houses with conical roofs are dotted everywhere around you. It is famous for its unique, small historical houses called trullo. Trullo is singular, trulli is plural, is a round building topped with a conical roof made of limestone tiles. They could be dismantled quickly to avoid taxation when the tax inspectors came to the area. On top of the trullo sits a pinnacle, the white ornament that sits on top of the conical roof. Some trullo have shapes drawn on the roof, which can be a primitive symbol, a Christian symbol, or a magical symbol. Once a traditional white village, the picturesque hamlet changed its look in the summer of 2011, becoming the first and only official Smurfs village in the world. This creative idea was launched by Sony Pictures as part of the campaign to promote the Smurfs movie. Consequently, the locals agreed to paint the traditional Pueblo Blanco in bright blue. This was intended to be a temporary project, but the idea caught on so well that Jusker even started to organize a series of events and trade fairs related to the cheerful theme. Once with the village's dramatic transformation into a fairy tale realm, tourism started to develop in the area, and so the local economy. The Brandenburg Gate is one of the most iconic sites in today's vibrant Berlin. More than just Berlin's only surviving historical city gate, this site came to symbolize Berlin's Cold War division into East and West and, since the fall of the wall, a reunified Germany. Architecturally, the sandstone Brandenburg Gate also represents one of the earliest and most attractive examples of a neoclassical building in Germany. The Brandenburg Gate was Berlin's first Greek revival building. It was inspired by the monumental gateway at the entrance to the Acropolis in Athens. The Brandenburg Gate faces Pariserplatz, regarded as one of the city's most attractive squares. By the end of the Second World War, the buildings around this historical square were in ruins. Wat Arun, also known as the Temple of Dawn, is one of the most famous landmarks in Bangkok, Thailand. Wat Arun's distinctive spires and stunning architectural design make it a prominent and iconic site in the Bangkok skyline. It is believed that the first light of the morning reflects off the temple's surface, creating a beautiful and ethereal sight. The most prominent feature of Wat Arun is its central prang, or tower, which stands at a height of over 80 meters. The prang is decorated with intricate porcelain and seashells, creating a mosaic-like appearance. For smaller satellite prangs surround the central tower, representing the mythical Mount Meru, which is believed to be the center of the universe in Hindu cosmology. Swayambhunath Stupa is an ancient and sacred Buddhist stupa located on top of a hillock in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. Upon reaching the top, the giant stupa with a pair of eyes painted in all cardinal directions will catch your attention. However, this is only the start of the stunning visual feast that awaits you. As you explore the temple complex, you'll discover wooden and stone carvings, murals, and statues depicting various aspects of Buddhism and Hinduism. The temple is also home to a lively population of resident monkeys, adding to the unique atmosphere of the temple and making it a truly one-of-a-kind experience. Just be careful with your snacks, as these little guys are always on the lookout for a tasty treat. The breathtaking village of Rain is located on the island of Moskenesoya on northern Norway's Lofoten archipelago. The picturesque fishing village Rain, with its scenic landscape of Reinefjord and the small islands, is dotted with red fishermen's cottages and hugged in between steep mountains that rise straight up from the sea. You could say that Rain has become almost synonymous with Lofoten, as it is often chosen as the front cover of traveling books and brochures about Lofoten and Norway. The village has been a huge inspiration for artists and films like the Disney movie Frozen and has been featured in theme parks like Disney's Epcot in Florida, which has a Norwegian pavilion, Legoland, which has built a mini version of Rain in their theme park in Billund, Denmark, and Madurodam in The Hague in the Netherlands. What if I told you there existed a village in the Swiss mountains where you could go back in time and live life at a slower pace? Where you can really go along with the rhythm of nature, where the only sounds are the singing of the birds and the ringing of the bells of the cows, which stand quietly grazing on the slopes. Perched high above the Lauterbrunnen Valley at an altitude of 1,200 meters, Wangen is a fashionable yet traditional alpine village in the Bernese Oberland. It can only be reached by cogwheel train, making it traffic-free. Thanks to the absence of traffic, the village boasts pure mountain air. The local scenery of Wangen provides views of the entire Alps, including the famous Eiger, Mönch, and Jungfrau Mountains. The Louvre is the world's largest museum and home to one of the most impressive art collections in history. In fact, it contains over 380,000 objects and displays roughly 35,000 works of art. It is literally impossible to see the entirety of the Louvre in just one visit. In fact, if you were to spend just 30 seconds on each piece of art, it would take 100 days to see them all. This does not even take sleeping, eating, or using the bathroom into account. So, make sure to arrive when the doors open and plan to spend the day here to see so much more than just the Mona Lisa. Today, there are nearly 7,500 paintings hanging in the 8 departments in the Louvre, and more than 66% were made by French locals. Some of the most famous French paintings to see include the Raft of the Medusa, Liberty, Leading the People, and the Coronation of Napoleon. With its old-world architecture, cobbled streets, and distinctive yellow shop fronts festooned with colorful lanterns, it's no wonder Hoi An's considered one of the most beautiful places in all of Vietnam. Hoi An ancient town served as a vital hub for commerce, connecting European merchants with their Asian counterparts. Traders from China, Japan, and Portugal left their indelible marks on the town through a diverse array of architectural patterns. There are plenty of local boats to charter at the docks, which you can hire for a day of fishing or cruising along the tranquil river. During annual festivities, hundreds of colorful handcrafted lanterns illuminate the wooden bridges, verandas, and windows of shop houses. Ellora Caves, located in the Indian state of Maharashtra, stand as a testament to the rich cultural and religious tapestry of ancient India. Carved into the Sharanandri Hills near the village of Ellora, these caves represent an extraordinary blend of Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist rock-cut architecture, spanning a period from the 6th to the 10th century. The caves are renowned for their intricate carvings, grand sculptures, and the sheer diversity of religious traditions they embody. The Ellora Caves also contribute significantly to our understanding of medieval Indian architecture. The rock-cut structures, especially the monolithic Kailasa Temple, showcase the engineering marvels achieved by ancient Indian craftsmen. The Secret of Burano has been out for a while, and it gets plenty of tourists due to its proximity to Venice. Everyone visits this unique island in Italy to capture photos of the pretty homes painted in different colors: pinks, blues, yellows, greens, purples. The island also has a system of canals. Wandering around Burano, you'll find little old ladies placing laundry out to dry, or peering down at kids and tourists from their multicolored windows framed by flower boxes. There are no cars on Burano. Locals get around on foot, bicycle, or boat. It's actually kind of similar to the cave city of Matera in that way. If you're looking for a quaint, picturesque village to visit in the Cotswolds, then Bibury is it. A series of 2 gorgeous hamlets that are split by the River Colne. On one side of the stream, you have Bibury, and on the other side, you have Arlington, Rackisle, and Awkward Hill. William Morris once said that Bibury was surely the most beautiful village in England, and I can't say I disagree with him. It's like walking through an old oil painting hanging in a gallery. The village is known for its honey-colored 17th-century stone cottages with steeply pitched roofs, which once housed weavers who supplied cloth for fulling at nearby Arlington Mill. One of the most famous fountains in the world, the Trevi Fountain in Rome, is an unmissable sight when visiting the Romantic city. Sandwiched between a number of small streets in the heart of Rome, the Baroque-style fountain depicts Oceanus, god of water, surrounded by the statues of Abundance, Salubrity, Tritons, and Hippocampus. Built using local travertine stone in 1762, with a name that means "from the Tiber" in Latin. Trevi Fountain stands 26 feet tall and 49 feet wide, with water pumping out of multiple sources and the large pool in front. The fountain spills about 2.8 million cubic feet of water every day. The Notre Dame Cathedral stands tall at 130 meters and is almost 50 meters wide, with windows as wide as 10 meters. Notre Dame de Paris is actually a French name for Our Lady of Paris. Although the Notre Dame Cathedral took almost 200 years to be built completely, one of the major changes came in the 13th century when the north rose window was based on the Renaissance style. Its impressive facade is adorned with an array of intricate sculptures, each telling the tale of various biblical figures and events, and showcasing the talent of the artisans involved in its creation. The Notre Dame Cathedral has 10 bells, and out of those the largest Emmanuel is in the southern tower weighing over 13 tons. Jaisalmer Fort was constructed under the reign of Rajput leader Raval Jaisal. Situated atop Trikuta Hill, it has witnessed numerous battles over time, serving as a stronghold in the sandy expanse of the Thar Desert. Stretching 1,500 feet in length and 750 feet in width, Jaisalmer Fort has remarkable yellow sandstone walls rising 250 feet above the surrounding terrain. The fort's pathways connect different sections of the complex, which is so expansive that nearly a quarter of the town's population once dwelled within its walls. Its architecture showcases a delicate fusion of Islamic and Rajput styles, with bastions forming a protective perimeter around the fort. Sigiriya is a 5th-century fortress in Sri Lanka which has been carved out of an Inselberg, a hill of hard volcanic rock. It towers around 600 feet from the forest and gardens below, and has a flat top. This is where the palace of King Kasyapa once stood, reachable up a winding stone staircase. Today, you can climb the 1270 steps to see the well-preserved ruins of Sigiriya. Close to the top of the fortress, you'll come across Lion's Gate, a staircase with 2 huge stone lion paws on either side. There was once a lion's face hewn into the rock as well, but it's been eroded by the elements. This is how Sigiriya, which translates as Lion Rock, got its name. Dazzling colors, canals, the wonder of half-timbered buildings that look like a perfect illustration. These are the things of Colmar, France. Colmar was apparently the inspiration for the village in the Disney film Beauty and the Beast, and it's not hard to see why. Walking through its streets is like seeing childhood fairy stories come to life. There's a wooden turret which would be just perfect for Rapunzel to let her hair down from. Tiny cottages that would make the ideal home for 7 dwarfs and a candy-colored bakery that Hansel and Gretel would love to get their teeth into. In real life, Colmar is a small town which is located in the Alsace region of northeast France. The Alsace is where France meets Germany, and ownership of the region has been passed back and forth between the two countries over the years. The ancient town of Fenghuang is located in the southwest corner of the west of Hunan Province, in China, at the foot of a mountain along the banks of the Tuojiang River. The town is exceptionally well preserved, untouched by modernization, harboring unique ethnic languages, customs, arts, and many distinctive architectural remains of the Ming and Qing styles. The typical building in Fenghuang is called Daijiala, which is a unique wooden house built along the riverbank. When seen from a distance, the houses look like hanging on the river. This design is to protect the house from the flooding situation in Tuojiang River in the old time. Standing tall at the heart of historic Florence, the spectacular Duomo marks the spot for Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore. Featuring beautiful terracotta rolls, this dome is the most iconic symbol in Florence and one of the largest churches in Europe. Also known as the Duomo Cathedral, this majestic structure set the scene for the Italian Renaissance and went on to inspire a legion of architects and artists on the continent. Moreover, the cathedral was built in dedication to the Virgin of Flowers and remains an important landmark for both locals and tourists. Incredibly, this marvelous Duomo stretches for just over 500 feet in length and 295 feet in width, while the tallest point of the dome is 295 feet high. Of all the magnificent monuments that the landscape of Rome's historic center, perhaps none is more evocative or speaks as clearly to the lyrical grandeur of the Eternal City than the Pantheon. Pantheon means all gods in Greek, but the exact function of the great edifice is still shrouded in mystery. Incredible but true. In the nearly 2,000 years since the Pantheon was completed, No unreinforced concrete dome anywhere in the world has ever been built on such a scale. Everything about the Pantheon is conceived on a massive scale, not least its entrance portico. This grand porch is held up by 16 enormous granite columns, each fully 40 feet tall and 5 feet in diameter. Incredibly, the monolithic columns were quarried and carved in the far-off mountains of eastern Egypt before being transported across thousands of miles of land and sea to their final home in the Campo Marzio. The Gyeongbokgung Palace is a perfect place to spend an afternoon. This historical site in the heart of Seoul was first erected in 1395 and is one of the first and largest of the royal palaces built during the Joseon dynasty. It served as the royal palace until 1592 when it burned down during the first Japanese invasion of the Imjin War. It was rebuilt in 1865 into the beautiful palace we see today. The palace's traditional Korean architecture, characterized by its grand gates, pavilions, and intricate details, is a testament to the craftsmanship and artistry of the Joseon period. Travelers interested in architecture will appreciate the opportunity to witness this unique and well-preserved style. The famed terracotta warriors of Xi'an are just one of the many parts of this ancient city's history that spans thousands of years. The complex spans a massive 20 square miles, and there are over 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots, and 670 horses. Each soldier is unique. No two are alike, and each has unique and realistic features. Researchers have also uncovered terracotta acrobats, musicians, and waterfowl. The soldiers, which were discovered by Chinese farmers, remained untouched for more than 2,000 years until their discovery in 1974. The famous terracotta warriors were created under Emperor Qin Shi Huang, who was obsessed with immortality. The entire terracotta army took around 40 years to finish and was built by more than 700,000 laborers. The Pelangon village, also known as the Lost Paradise of Kurdistan, is a historical village in Kurdistan province in the west of Iran. The Pelangon village is composed of stone-made houses built in staircase architecture descending the mountain slope. This village is a valuable property to the local people of Kurdistan province, and because of its unique structure, visitors from all around the globe come to see this extraordinary location. The southwest of this village is surrounded by the mountains of Kol and Surlu, and the southeast is surrounded by Zamangriva Gorge. The village is about 1,020 meters above sea level. The Pelangon village has a moderate and dry climate and welcomes many tourists in spring and summer with mild and pleasant weather. Gassadler is one of the most isolated villages in the Faroe Islands of Denmark. This small village is home to a dozen people. Before the single tunnel road was completed in 2004, getting there was a difficult task. The only available options when visiting Gassadler village used to be a strenuous hike around the mountain, using a boat, or flying there in a helicopter. The Mjølefosser waterfall in Gassadler is a must-see feature when visiting the Faroe Islands. It is one of the best sights because of its stunning view. The drops from this waterfall go straight into the Atlantic Ocean, creating a panoramic view worth your time. Puffins are beautiful birds you can see in Gassadler. You can see them if you hike to the Gassadler viewpoint. Puffins are freaking cute. Their black coats, white breasts, and colorful beaks add to the panoramic view of Gassadler village and surroundings. Schönbrunn Palace is one of Austria's most important cultural assets, and since the 1960s has been one of Vienna's major tourist attractions, drawing millions of visitors each year. The palace is named after the natural spring, or the artesian well that once flowed through the area and provided the water stream to the court. The castle was built on a former hunting lodge site that the Habsburgs had used for centuries. Schönbrunn Palace is one of the largest palaces in Europe, with over 1,400 rooms. However, only 40 of these rooms are open for public visits. During the reign of Maria Theresa, as an imperial summer residence, Schönbrunn Palace became the glittering focus of court life. From this time on, it played host to the leading statesmen of Europe. Peterhof Palace is an expansive compound of glorious architecture from the height of the Russian Empire. It's a mighty edifice that lets you delve into the magical world of the Russian Tsardom. Famous for its magnificent fountains and sculptures, the palace has managed to withstand years of war and conflict, standing tall today as a symbol of the glorious Russian Empire. The Grand Palace at Peterhof was designed to be the centerpiece of Peter the Great's Russian Versailles. Around 1720, the Tsar gave up on attempts to establish his court at Strelna, mainly because the boggy ground proved entirely unsuitable for the canals and fountains that he envisioned. Moving his attention further west to Peterhof, the Tsar began to draw up his own plans for the grounds and palace. The Temple of Heaven is one of the most brilliant ancient architectures in China. It is also an outstanding masterpiece of classic imperial buildings throughout Chinese history. The site was firstly built in 1420 by Yongle Emperor, then expanded by the subsequent emperors of both Ming and Qing dynasty, and had served as the holy place for emperors to pay homage to heaven and to pray for a year of rich harvest. The site covers almost 3 square kilometers, but really you could spend your visit staring at the star exhibit, the Hall of the Prayer for Good Harvests. Its 3 cone-shaped layers, almost like a Christmas tree, the delicate design of the roof, and the colors used in its decor are exquisite. It's built from wood, with no nails, and I found it jaw-dropping. Himeji Castle is a stunningly beautiful structure located in the Hyogo Prefecture of Japan. Built in the early 17th century, the castle is an example of the classic Japanese castle architecture and is a symbol of the power and grace of the ruling samurai class. The white plastered exterior walls and the graceful curves of the roofs and balconies are reminiscent of a bird taking flight, and the intricate wooden carvings that adorn the castle's interior are a testament to the craftsmanship of the era. It took around 10,000 people to build the castle. Their labor was a kind of income tax, using pine and granite from the surrounding mountains. That granite base, combined with a highly flexible wooden structure, has helped Himeji sway when earthquakes have struck. Apparently, those pillars vibrate like a kind of seismic tuning fork. New Zealand is probably more famous for being the home of Hobbit and Middle-earth than our impressive landscapes, World Cup-winning rugby team, or pretty much anything else. Hobbiton is the village in the Shire where the hobbits live in Lord of the Rings. There are 44 hobbit holes and the Green Dragon Inn, which serves drinks. You can peer into the hobbit holes, but there's nothing inside. All of the interior scenes were filmed in Weta Workshop. However, they are working on building interiors, so guests may be able to go inside from early this year. Qasigiannguit, Greenland is something of a forgotten paradise and another one of those small towns that no one knows about. Beautifully situated in the Disco Bay, surrounded by high and steep mountains rising to about 450 meters, Qasigiannguit is named Spotted Seals for the marine life in the bay. The open land and high mountains around Qasigiannguit are a challenging hike but offer a worthwhile view of the bay. The Jerónimos Monastery is regarded as one of the most stellar examples of Portuguese architecture. It is the final resting place of many famous Portuguese personalities like Vasco da Gama, Luís de Camões, King Manuel I, and King John III of Portugal. It took more than 100 years to complete the construction of the monastery. The main architectural style of the Jerónimos Monastery is Manueline, although Castillo introduced the Spanish plateresque style, which is still visible in different areas of the monastery. Made with golden limestone, the structure is a classic example of Portuguese Gothic Manueline architecture. Ilhéan d'Onan Castle has wowed visitors for centuries. Perched on a small island, which it takes its name from, In the western Scottish Highlands, it's one of the country's most picturesque sites. Eilean Donan is a small, sleepy tidal island where three sea lochs meet: Loch Duich, Loch Long, and Loch Alsh. It's even said that this ancient rural castle appears on more shortbread tins and calendars than any other, making it a true Scottish icon. As well as welcoming visitors from all over the globe, Eilean Donan has been used as a filming location for plenty of A-list blockbusters and British classics, including the James Bond film The World Is Not Enough, historical drama Elizabeth the Golden Age, TV classic The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, and even chick flicks like Maid of Honor. The North Yorkshire seaside town of Staithes is just 10 miles from Whitby. It embodies many of the reasons why seaside towns hold such appeal. Once one of the busiest fishing ports on the northeast coast, Staithes boasts a long, proud history as the one-time home of famous Royal Navy captain and explorer, Captain James Cook. Remnants of Cook's time here can be seen in many of the tourist attractions of today, including Captain Cook and Staithes Heritage Centre, a recreation of the shop in which James Cook worked during his residency here. The museum is a treasure trove of over 200 books, engravings, letters, medals, and more, providing an insight into his incredible life and career, as well as into Staithes itself. The Royal Palace of Stockholm in Sweden, also known as Drottningholm Palace, stands as a magnificent residence on Drottningholm Island, overlooking the picturesque Lake Mälaren. Historically, the Royal Palace served as Sweden's first military fortress. However, by the late 17th century, it evolved into the official residence of the Swedish monarchy. The Royal Palace of Stockholm in Sweden stands as one of the most prominent architectural marvels in Northern Europe. The mansion is a captivating blend of bold Baroque style and classical elements from the Renaissance period. The palace boasts 600 rooms across 7 floors, predominantly adorned with Baroque architecture. Each room exudes opulent and breathtaking beauty, especially the ceilings adorned with intricate sculptures and floral motifs. The Vigeland Sculpture Park at Frogner in Oslo is one of the most unique sculpture parks in the world. Here, you'll see more than 212 sculptures by the artist Gustav Vigeland, which makes it the world's largest sculpture park made by a single artist. Some of the most famous sculptures include Sinnataggen, Angry Boy, the Monolith, and the Wheel of Life. Approximately 1 million people visit the park every year, making it one of Norway's most visited attractions. All 212 statues depict human beings of different ages, sexes, and sizes, stuck in different and sometimes perplexing poses. Vigeland wanted his statues to capture all the aspects of a person's life, both in a literal and in a metaphorical sense. Set in the heart of Jaipur called Pink City, the City Palace is a showcase of opulent beauty and an aesthetically pleasing blend of some remarkable Rajput and Mughal architecture. Every inch of this palace is mesmerizing, made of red and pink sandstone, glistening white marble, antique artwork, intricate details, and kaleidoscopic patterns. City Palace features a charming 7-story citadel, antique museum, vast courtyards, luxurious rooms, perfectly manicured gardens, and enchanting archways, all well curated and built to perfection. Elegant, enchanting, ornate. There are many ways to describe Jaipur's City Palace. However, mesmerizing sums it up perfectly. The City Palace is not only an architectural marvel, but also a repository of Jaipur's cultural heritage. It reflects the opulence and grandeur of the royal court and provides insight into the lifestyle of the royals. Angkor Wat is an architectural masterpiece and the largest religious monument in the world, covering an area 4 times the size of Vatican City. It was built by the Khmer king Suryavarman II in the first half of the 12th century, around the year 1110 to 1150, making Angkor Wat almost 900 years old. The temple complex, built in the capital of the Khmer Empire, took approximately 30 years to build. It was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu before becoming a Buddhist temple by the end of the 12th century. Angkor Wat, protected by a 15-foot high wall and wide moat, covers an area of 200 acres. During its height of popularity, Angkor Wat included a city, temple, and the emperor's palace. However, it was only the temple and walls that were built out of sandstone, not wood, and therefore the only structures still remaining today. Meteora is a geological wonder that features towering rock formations that seem to rise out of nowhere. These massive pillars of rock are made of sandstone and conglomerate and are believed to have been formed over millions of years by the action of wind and water. Above the town of Kalambaka, on the northwestern edge of Greece's plain of Thessaly, giant rock formations reach nearly 400 m into the sky, like something out of a science fiction movie. Balanced across 24 pillars are monasteries, visible through the clouds. In Byzantine times, monks had the inspiration to construct 6 monasteries on top of these rocks so that they would be closer to God. The monastery of the Great Meteoron, founded in the 14th century by Saint Athanasius, is the highest, largest, and oldest of the 6. Diocletian's Palace is an imposing building in Split, built by the famous ruler Diocletian back in the 3rd century. Compellingly, this palace represents one of the best preserved monuments of Roman architecture in the whole world. In the beginning, Diocletian's Palace was conceived as a kind of military camp. Therefore, it was built as a combination of a luxury villa, a summer house, and a castrum, further divided into 4 parts. The palace was surrounded by ramparts, while the interior resembled a military camp. In addition to the 3 land entrances to the castle, there was one entrance from the seaside. Split Cathedral, which today is dedicated to the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, used to be the emperor's mausoleum. It was located on the left side of the main street, and in historical sources, it is also mentioned as the Temple of Jupiter. Sukhothai Historical Park in all its glory can leave you lost for words, much like Alice in Wonderland was stunned when she fell into the rabbit hole. Welcome the wonders of Thailand's post-classical Sukhothai Kingdom, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. One of the most notable features of the Sukhothai style is its portrayal of the Buddha. The Buddha images from this period are renowned for their gentle and serene expressions, conveying a sense of inner peace and spiritual enlightenment. These images are characterized by their elongated proportions, smooth curves, and flowing robes, which emphasize the Buddha's graceful and otherworldly qualities. By the way, exploring Sukhothai by bike is one of the best things to do in Sukhothai. Located in the heart of Amritsar, the Golden Temple is the most admired Gurudwara in the country. The Golden Temple, namely Sri Harmandir Sahib, serves as an epitome of glory, harmony, and equality. Sri Harmandir Sahib played an integral role in the rich history of Punjab, which makes this religious heritage the holiest pilgrimage site for the Sikhs. Golden Temple is a seamless blend of jaw-dropping architecture, warm hospitality, and captivating peace. It attracts devotees from different corners of the globe who seek blessing and spiritual solace. This magnificent structure with sparkling golden walls and intricate designs is an absolute treat for the eyes. Standing tall in the middle of a massive pool often gives an illusion that the spectacular Golden Temple is floating in the water. The site is incredibly beautiful and leaves an imprint on the soul. Neuschwanstein Castle, which literally translates to New Swanstone Castle, is located in the Bavaria region of southeastern Germany. Few places on Earth look more like storybook illustrations than Neuschwanstein Castle. With its towers, turrets, frescoes, and throne hall, Neuschwanstein looks like it was plucked straight from your favorite fairy tale. Though not particularly tall, Neuschwanstein Castle's highest tower reaches a height of just 213 feet. Its perch on a hill gives it an imposing silhouette. Neuschwanstein Castle, with its white limestone facade and deep blue turrets, is rumored to be real-life inspiration for the castle in the Disney classic, Cinderella, released in 1950. The resemblance, after all, is striking. A sight for sore eyes with or without its famous flower carpet, Brussels' most important square is a true beauty. The Grand Place, indeed, makes a spectacular impression. as its lavish facades seamlessly blend together to create a sense of the metropolis in its merchant heyday. Not much has changed since 1695. The Grand Place's eclectic architecture has earned it a special standing amongst Europe's most magnificent squares. Today, the square functions as a meeting place and cultural hub, where events of all kinds bring inhabitants and visitors together. An undeniable highlight is the fragrant flower carpet every other year in August. The Leshan Giant Buddha, also named the Lingyun Giant Buddha, is the largest stone Buddha in the world, standing at 71 meters in height. It took 90 years to carve the Leshan Giant Buddha during the Tang Dynasty. At that time, worshipping Maitreya was popular, and the local people believed that carving the statue could bring them brightness and happiness. The Buddha has been said to show emotions about different moments that have occurred in history. He expressed these emotions by closing his eyes when he felt sad or showing happiness when he was satisfied with a particular situation. However, it has now been confirmed that this mysterious phenomenon was a result of bad weather and air pollution as well as people's imaginations. Kambhalgarh Fort is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located in the Aravalli Range in Rajasthan, India. It was built in the 15th century by Rana Kumbha, a ruler of the Muir Kingdom. The fort is renowned for its long, serpentine wall, which stretches for 36 kilometers and is believed to be the second longest continuous wall in the world, after the Great Wall of China. The fort is situated at an elevation of 1,100 meters above sea level and offers spectacular views of the surrounding landscape. It was built using white marble and is home to several palaces, over 70 temples, and gardens. Kambhalgarh Fort is not only an architectural marvel, but also has great historical significance. It played an important role in the history of Rajasthan and was the birthplace of Maharana Pratap, one of the most famous rulers of the Muir Kingdom. Buda Castle is by far one of the most famous buildings in the world. Standing tall and proud in the city of Budapest, it was the castle and royal palace of the Hungarian kings who used to rule the whole of Budapest. First built in the magnificent times of 1265, this opulent and imperial castle is one of the most famous palaces, taking its place right up there along with other famous castles such as Buckingham Palace and others. Nowadays, Buda Castle has been converted from the residence-styled and furnished palace it was. It now houses two of the most important things in the nation of Hungary, the Hungarian National Gallery, a collection of some of the most famous and important artwork to have come out of Hungary, and the Budapest History Museum, which is one of the most famous museums in the whole of the nation. Tower Bridge was built in 1884 and is now internationally recognized as an iconic symbol of London. The shape of the bridge, now familiar the world over, was composed of twin towers, with a central section that could be raised to allow tall ships to sail through the central section of the waterway. This type of bridge is what is called a bascule design, from the French word for a seesaw. The bascules are powered by massive pumping engines, building steam pressure to power an hydraulic lift system. Ephesus is an ancient Greek city that was founded on the coast of the Aegean Sea during the 10th century BC. It was founded by Attic and Ionian colonists on the former site of the Arzawan capital. The Romans gained control of Ephesus in 129 BC, at which time the city began to flourish. Estimates place the population of the city at around 50,000 souls during its peak under Roman rule. Ephesus stands as a testament to the rich tapestry of history woven into the very fabric of this ancient land, steeped in the legacy of civilizations that have left an indelible mark on its sprawling ruins. The Great Theater of Ephesus is one of the largest ancient theaters in the world, with a seating capacity of around 25,000 people. It was used for various performances and events, including gladiator contests. Rajasthan is a place of royals and many wonders, and Hawa Mahal is one such gem. It's not just the architecture. Hawa Mahal's history and facts will let you view this structure in a new light. Of course, it's one of the iconic landmarks of Jaipur and is famed for its pink latticed balconies and windows that offer breathtaking views of the city. Also known as the Palace of the Winds, it's one of the finest examples of Rajput architecture in the country and was built in 1799 by the Kachwaha ruler of Jaipur Maharaja Sawai Pratap Singh as an extension to the royal city palace. In the past, it served as a summer retreat for many Rajput families as its design allowed passage of pleasant breeze, thereby offering the much-needed relief during the summers. Amalienborg is the home of the Danish royal family and is located in Copenhagen, Denmark. It consists of 4 identical classical palace facades with Rococo interiors around an octagonal courtyard. In the center of the square is a monumental equestrian statue of Amalienborg's founder, King Frederick V. Every day at noon, when the Queen is staying at the palace, visitors can enjoy the changing of the guard. Amalienborg is renowned for its royal guard, called Den Kongelige Livgarde. For the guard change, the royal guard marches from their barracks in 100 Guthersgade by Rosenborg Castle through the streets of Copenhagen and finish at Amalienborg. It is the oldest regiment in Denmark and one of the toughest and most disciplined in the Danish army. Belem Tower, also known as the Tower of St. Vincent, is an iconic historical monument situated on the banks of the Tagus River in the picturesque district of Belém in Lisbon, Portugal. Initially conceived as part of Lisbon's defense system, Belem Tower has transcended its martial origins to become a symbol of Portugal's age of exploration. Its strategic location near the mouth of the Tagus River allowed it to guard the city from seafaring invaders, serving as a fortress of security and surveillance. The architectural style of Belem Tower is a beautiful blend of Gothic, Manueline, and Moorish influences. Its intricate details, including maritime motifs like ropes and seashells, reflect Portugal's rich maritime history during the age of exploration. Wat Rong Khun, also known as the White Temple, is a unique and stunning temple located in Chiang Rai, Thailand. It was designed and built by renowned Thai artist Kalamkai Kosipapat and opened to the public in 1997. The temple's distinctive all-white exterior is adorned with intricate carvings and glass mirrors, making it a popular tourist attraction in northern Thailand. The temple's architecture and artwork are intended to represent Buddhist teachings and values, and visitors can expect to see many Buddhist symbols and images throughout the temple grounds. In addition to the main temple building, there are several other buildings and sculptures on the grounds, including a golden building representing the cycle of rebirth and a bridge leading to the temple symbolizing crossing from the world of suffering to the world of enlightenment. Bada Caves is a limestone hill with a series of beautiful caves, 3 major caves and a few smaller ones, and historic cave temples. According to experts, the limestone forming the caves is about 400 million years old. Back in the days, the indigenous people used some of the cave entrances as their living quarters and for shelter. For over a century now, Hindus from all over have come together during festivals to celebrate and pray as a community. From its magnificently built shrines and statues set against a captivating background of limestone hills, one of the most prominent and unique trademarks of Bada Caves has to be the golden statue of the Hindu god, Lord Murugan, which stands proud and tall at the foot of the stairs, stretching over 140 feet in height. This outstanding sculpture is a proud symbol of the Hindu temple in the caves. After St. Basil's Cathedral was completed in the mid-16th century, a legend began to circulate about the eclectic Orthodox church located in the heart of Moscow. It was an architectural feat, the tallest structure in the city, thanks to new brickwork knowledge from the Italians, and it was a show of Russia's might at the end of a century-long war. According to whispers, the Grand Prince of Moscow, infamously nicknamed Ivan the Terrible, had its architects blinded so that they could never again design a building so majestic. Today, St. Basil's, officially known as Pokrovsky Cathedral, stands as a series of red brick chapels encircling the largest, central form. Each chapel is topped with a vibrantly colored dome of blues, greens, reds, and yellows. The cathedral is known worldwide for its fairy tale-like appearance. An outstanding museum in Stockholm is the Vasa Museum, featuring the famous Vasa ship, a warship built between 1626 and 1628. Sadly, the remarkable ship sank on its maiden voyage in 1628, just a few minutes after putting to sea. All this happened in front of the excited crowd expecting to be celebrating the launch. Only much later, in 1950, was the warship located again right in Stockholm Harbor. After being raised and partly reassembled, the large Vasa ship is now, centuries later, on display at the Vasa Museum in Stockholm. Loads of artifacts have been detected in and around the hull of the vessel at the time of raising it. This included clothing, weapons, food, and coins, all contributing to valuable insight into the life of the naval people on board and the vessel itself. The Meenakshi Amman Temple in Madurai, Tamil Nadu, is a marvel of South Indian temple architecture. The temple is dedicated to the goddess Meenakshi and her consort Lord Sundarswar. It is considered one of the most beautiful and colorful temples in India and South India. The Meenakshi Temple is over 2,000 years old. This ancient temple is noted for its colorful architecture. The present structure was built between the 12th and 18th centuries. The temple also finds its mention in ancient Tamil literature. The temple is noted for its stunning architecture, which is determined by intricately carved gopurams, mandapams, and colorful sculptures. It's a fine example of Dravidian architecture. Nestled along the serene shores of the Mediterranean, the city of Byblos, Lebanon, stands as a living testament to the inexorable passage of time. This ancient town, with its history stretching back over 7,000 years, has earned the title of one of the oldest cities in the world. Byblos, known locally as Chbale, is a place where the past and the present coexist in perfect harmony, where the ruins of antiquity intertwine with the bustling life of a contemporary coastal city. But beyond its age and architectural marvels, Byblos carries tales of legendary visitors, none more captivating than the enchantment it wove around the great conqueror himself, Alexander the Great. The city is home to a wealth of archaeological remains, including ancient city walls, temples, burial sites, and artifacts that provide valuable insights into the Phoenician, Roman, and Byzantine periods. The atomium is a giant 165 billion times enlarged model representing an elementary iron crystal cell, and it can be considered as a mixture between sculpture and architecture. The atomium represented the faith in scientific progress as a main driver of the progress for humanity at large. The structure itself consists of 9 stainless steel-clad spheres connected by 20 tubes. According to the records from 1958, the object weighs as much as 2,400 tons. In total, it is 102 meters high. The structure is preserved almost in original condition and was renovated in 2006 in order to create a beautiful light show with 2,970 LED sparkling during the night. The beautiful, historical Charles Bridge in Prague crosses not only the Vltava River, but also the famous canal, Čertovka, meaning the Devil's Sight. The Gothic-style bridge is supported by 16 mighty arches as it rises up from the bottom of the river to a height of 13 meters. And atop the bridge you will find 30 statues in the Baroque style of saints, which were added centuries after the initial building of the bridge. The Charles Bridge has become quite popular in recent years due to the magical aura that surrounds it, especially in the early morning or late at night. The Charles Bridge also notably served as a display for the decapitated heads of 27 leaders from the anti-Habsburg revolt in 1621, to deter Czechs from further resistance. The Blue Mosque, also known as Sultan Ahmed Mosque, is an architectural masterpiece that has become one of Istanbul's most iconic landmarks. The mosque was commissioned by Sultan Ahmed, who wanted to build a mosque that was larger and more impressive than the Hagia Sophia, which was then the main mosque in Istanbul. The construction of the mosque was completed in just 7 years, and it was opened to the public in 1616. The Blue Mosque is famous for its stunning architecture, which combines elements of Islamic and Byzantine styles. The mosque has 6 minarets, which is unusual as most mosques have 4. The interior is decorated with intricate tilework, stained glass windows, and calligraphy. The mosque is also known for its impressive dome, which is 23 meters in diameter and 43 meters high. Fateh Sikri in Agra district. It was founded by the Mughal Emperor Akbar in 1571 AD and served as the capital of the Mughal Empire till 1585. It was abandoned by Akbar during his Punjab campaign and then completely abandoned in 1610 AD. The city features the Indo-Islamic architectural style and is constructed using red sandstone. A number of palaces, mosques, monuments, public buildings, and other structures adorn the city, each of which displays exemplary architectural beauty. The architecture, the history, and the legends around this city deserve much more renown. Unfortunately, it is overshadowed by the romance of the Taj Mahal. After all, stories of love find much more flavor than histories, don't they? The White Tower was built as the major Norman castle in London, as a locally resented display of Norman power. William the Conqueror established it just inside the eastern edge of the Roman town walls of Londinium. The White Tower served to protect the port areas of the River Thames, at the furthest edge of buildable land. The White Tower was so called because the walls would have been whitewashed. They were painted this hue in about 1240, and they would have been visible for miles around. The whitewash was chosen to make the castle stand out, a bit like a lighthouse. In doing so, the castle demonstrated the unquestionable might and grandeur of the English king for all to see. The Kremlin, a historical fortified citadel and the religious and political nucleus of the city, is at the heart of Moscow and is one of Russia's most emblematic sites. Originally built in the 12th century as a fortified citadel with wooden buildings, the Kremlin has grown to be a majestic complex and the political heart of Russia. The enormous complex has a total area of 27 hectares surrounded by over 1.5 miles of defensive walls, including 20 towers measuring over 260 feet in height, the tallest of which being the Spasskaya Tower. Its imposing red walls and the star-topped towers are a strikingly recognizable symbol of the Russian capital. Prambanan Temple, the exotic Hindu temple. As the largest Hindu temple in Southeast Asia, the beautiful and graceful Temple of Prambanan is a magnificent spectacle and an icon of Indonesia's cultural heritage. Located not far from the Buddhist Borobudur Temple, the proximity of the two temples tells us that in Java, Buddhism and Hinduism lived peacefully next to one another. Prambanan is known locally as Roro Jonggrang, coming from the legend of the Slender Virgin. The biggest temple is dedicated to Shiva, the destroyer, and the two smaller ones which sit on its right and left are dedicated to Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the sustainer. The tallest temple of Prambanan is a staggering 47 meters high. Its peak is visible from far away and rises high above the ruins of the other temples. Built between 2584 BC and 2561 BC, the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu or Pyramid of Cheops, is the oldest and last remaining of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. For almost 4,000 years, the pyramid was considered the tallest man-made structure in the world. It is the largest and the oldest of the 3 pyramids on the complex at Giza, an embodiment of the grandeur of ancient Egypt. The pyramid's construction remains largely a mystery. Built from more than 2-meter stone blocks and measuring 146 meters high when it was first constructed, The pyramid is now 138 meters tall after erosion removed the top portion. As for the base, each side is about 230 meters long, and the total area covered is around 5 hectares. Stockholm City Hall is a tall and beautiful red brick building on the shore of Lake Mälaren. It looks a bit like a medieval castle and has, ever since it was built in 1923, been an important part of the Stockholm skyline. The City Hall is mostly famous for the Nobel Prize, founded by the Swedish inventor Alfred Nobel. Every year since 1901, on December 10th, 1,300 invited guests share a magnificent dinner with the laureates and the royal family in the Blue Hall. The Blue Hall is dominated by a huge marble staircase, built with regard to the women's fancy dresses and high heels. The architect let his wife go up and down on high heels until he found the perfect measurements for a safe walk down. If the Blue Hall is impressive, the Golden Hall is even more so with its leaf gold decorated walls and 18 million pieces of mosaics. The Royal Palace of Madrid is among the most significant attractions in the Spanish capital. The official residence of the Spanish royal family, the palace has a long history dating all the way back to the 9th century, with the current building completed in the 18th century. The sprawling palace, among the biggest in Europe, was designed by Italian architect Filippo Gevara. It features 3,400 rooms and a massive art collection, including works by Spanish and European artists such as Goya, Velázquez, and Rubens. Besides its size and art exhibits, the Royal Palace of Madrid also holds cultural and historical importance. It played a critical role in Spanish history, serving as the home of the Spanish monarchy for centuries. The iconic Petronas Twin Towers are majestic giants that grace the Kuala Lumpur skyline. These towering titans aren't just ordinary buildings. They're a beautiful symphony of architecture, engineering, and ambition that have captured the hearts of millions. Rising 88 floors into the heavens, they stand as a wonderful representation of human ingenuity and the never-ending desire to touch the sky. What's more, they once held the title of the world's tallest buildings, a crown they wore with pride until 2004. Just imagine a bridge suspended between two colossal skyscrapers, 41 floors above the ground. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Say hello to the sky bridge of the Petronas Twin Towers. The Marina Bay Sands Resort is a hotel, casino, and theater amenity. It also houses several restaurants, gardens, spas, and event centers, and is even home to the Art Science Museum. The building has 3 different towers that have over 2,600 hotel rooms in total. The entire Marina Bay Sands complex is about 57 stories tall, which is the equivalent of 198 meters. Meanwhile, the length of the building at the top is over 300 meters long, which is taller than the Eiffel Tower. There is an infinity pool at the top of this tower as well. The opulent Place de la Concorde is the largest public square in Paris. Sprawled out over 20 acres, its beautiful fountains, sculptures, and ancient Egyptian obelisk attract visitors from around the world. The Place de la Concorde is perhaps best known for its ties to the French Revolution, when revolutionists erected a guillotine and used the square as an execution site. More than 200 years after the French Revolution, the Place de la Concorde stands as a living piece of history, with each of its statues and fountains adding to the fabric of the story of the French nation. Built in the shape of an octagon, you'll find a beautiful statue standing in each of its 8 corners. These statues are part of the original 18th century design of the square and represent 8 cities in France. The Guinness Storehouse is Dublin's and Ireland's #1 tourist attraction. The story of Guinness has been at the heart of Dublin since it was founded in 1759, and no trip to Dublin is complete without visiting this world-class attraction. Located in the heart of the legendary St. James's Gate Brewery in Dublin, this production site has been home to the Guinness Brewery since 1759, when Arthur Guinness signed a 9,000-year lease. As you make your way through the Guinness Storehouse self-guided, you will discover what ingredients go into making the black stuff, and the process involved in making the perfect pint. Your final stop is the Gravity Bar, where you can admire panoramic views of the city as you enjoy a complimentary well-earned pint of the black stuff. The Lotus Temple in Delhi is a matchless architectural marvel and one of the prime tourist attractions of the national capital. Surrounded by lush green landscape gardens, this lotus-inspired structure spreads across 26 acres of land. Made using white marble sourced from Greece, it comprises 27 petals in the freestanding state. These petals are organized in groups of 3 to lend the structure a 9-sided circular shape, as has been indicated in the Bahá'í scripture. There are 9 entrances that open to a huge central hall, which is about 40 meters in height. The temple has a seating capacity of 1,300 people and can accommodate 2,500 people at a time. Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque is one of the 8 largest in the world and is impressive not only for its size, but for its architecture. Perhaps the most noticeable element of the mosque is the collection of 82 domes, the largest of which is located in the center of the main prayer hall. The domes feature pure white marble cladding, onion-shaped crowns, and crescent-shaped finials decorated with gold glass mosaic. The mosque has 7 crystal chandeliers altogether. However, the largest is located in the main prayer hall and weighs around 12 tons. The smaller chandeliers in the hall weigh 8 tons each. They were made with impressive detail and even have Swarovski crystal decorating them. The Palace of Versailles had fairly humble beginnings. Louis XIII bought the land because he loved hunting and built a chateau as a lodge where he loved staying at night if he had no time to go back to Paris before dark. The Gardens of Versailles are some of the largest and most spectacular in the world and contain 372 statues, 55 water features, 600 fountains, and over 20 miles of water pipes. Hundreds of thousands of plants and trees have been continually planted over the year. While this makes the gardens look amazing, in the 17th century the fragrance from these blooms and Trianon was so overpowering it made guests feel ill and drove them away. Pena Palace's history dates to the Middle Ages when a chapel to Our Lady of Pena was erected atop the Cintra Mountains. In 1493, King John II and Queen Leonor fulfilled a vow by pilgriming to the site. With its vivid yellow, crimson red, and blue tile hues, along with white stone accents, it stands as a romantic marvel. The fusion of Neo-Gothic, Neo-Manueline, Neo-Moorish, and Islamic influences, notably the enchanting cornflower blue tiles with hints of yellow periwinkle, adds an alluring charm. This dreamlike palace evokes thoughts of Ludwig of Bavaria's extravagant castle, captivating gazes with its mesmerizing blend of styles. One of the least known facts about Pena Palace. The Burj Khalifa is an iconic skyscraper located in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. It is not only a symbol of Dubai's modernity and ambition, but also holds historical and cultural significance. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest man-made structure in the world, standing at a height of 828 meters. Its innovative design and engineering have made it a symbol of human achievement and technological advancement. The Burj Khalifa offers an observation deck on its 148th floor, known as At the Top Sky. It provides breathtaking views of Dubai's skyline, the desert, and the Persian Gulf. Tokyo Skytree is a broadcasting tower that was recognized by the Guinness World Records Company as the world's tallest building in 2011. This Tokyo landmark is beautiful both up close and from a distance. The current height of Tokyo Skytree is 634 meters, but that was not the original plan. The original height was planned at 610.6 meters. The race to keep the tower as the tallest tower in the world and not get superseded by Canton Tower in China, 600 meters, a factor of safety, was added and the height increased to 634 meters. It's nearly twice that of the Tokyo Tower at 333 meters. Built to hold 40,000 worshippers, the entire population of Milan at the time, construction of the cathedral began in 1368 at the height of the Gothic period and spanned more than 600 years. There are 34,000 statues inside and out, 135 spires, 55 stained glass windows, and 150 gargoyles. These works of art are draped across the cathedral's area of 11,000 square meters. Thousands of artists, sculptors, and specialists from around the world were involved in bringing it to life. The Duomo's highest spire of the Duomo was topped with a 13.65-foot statue of the Virgin Mary, known as the Madonnina, made of copper and covered in gold with outstretched hands and 12 stars encircling her upward-turned head. The Madonnina has long been an important symbol in Milan as protector of both the church and city. The Hungarian Parliament building is the seat of the National Assembly of Hungary, a landmark and symbol of the country, and one of the finest examples of Gothic Revival and Renaissance Revival architecture in the world today. It's one of the tallest buildings in Budapest, as well as the third largest National Assembly building in the world. Covering an area of 18,000 square meters, Parliament building has 691 rooms, 28 entrances, 10 courtyards, and 29 staircases. The building was designed with symbology in mind. The dome of the main Parliament building is 96 meters high, which symbolizes the year of the settlement of Hungary, 896. There are also 96 steps on the main staircase, which take visitors up to a magnificent hallway. Finally, 365 towers are incorporated throughout the building, one for each day of the year. Covering an area of 413 hectares, the Mandalay Royal Palace is renowned for its solidly and extremely sophisticated wall system. Because Mandalay Palace is the royal residence of King Mindo and King Thibaw, all the parts must be magnificent in the center of a large complex and were built by gilded teak wood. The complex was surrounded by 4 huge walls which covered 60 meters in width, 2 kilometers in length, 8 meters in height, and 3 meters in thickness with artillery launchers. The palace has 12 gates which represent 12 zodiac signs. 3 gates are arranged for each wall, between the doors and the corners. Besides, there is a moat outside with 64 meters wide, 4.5 meters deep in a series of bridges. It is believed that previously, under the moat, there was a system of spikes in order to trap the enemy in case of being attacked. There really is nowhere else on Earth like Cappadocia. This region in central Anatolia in Turkey lies just north of the Taurus Mountains and is characterized by its unique landscape. Soft volcanic rock here has been shaped by millions of years of erosion, giving rise to fairy chimneys from dust-strewn canyons. The region is often pictured with colorful hot air balloons floating above its majestic rocks and valleys. Caves fleck the cliff sides, and subterranean dwellings exist below. These inlets have been inhabited by communities throughout centuries of conflict and change. Blarney Castle is a tower house, a type of fortification built by Gaelic lords and the Anglo-Irish between the 15th and 17th centuries. Tower houses are typically 4 or 5 stories tall with 1 or 2 main chambers, plus several ancillary chambers on each floor. One of the most famous features of Blarney Castle is the renowned Blarney Stone. Legend has it that anyone who kisses the stone will be bestowed with the gift of eloquence. According to one legend, the Blarney Stone was originally a gift from the witch of a local waterfall to the castle's builder, Cormac McCarthy. Kissing the Blarney Stone requires a bit of bravery. Visitors must lie on their backs and lean backwards over the edge of the castle to reach the stone. Best not think about the germs there. Constructed in the 1890s, the Glenfinnan Viaduct is 380 meters long, making it the longest concrete railway bridge in Scotland, has 21 arches, and crosses the River Finnan at a height of about 30 m. It is still in use today and forms part of the 164-mile-long scenic West Highland Line on the Malloch section of the line. Moreover, while its functional purpose cannot be denied, the Glenfinnan Viaduct found a place in the hearts of many beyond being just a railway structure. But obviously, thanks to the Harry Potter film series, the viaduct achieved worldwide fame, transforming it into a symbol of magic and adventure. You might recognize it as the iconic bridge that the Hogwarts Express crosses on its way to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and undoubtedly, as a Potterhead, This connection adds an extra layer of enchantment to the viaduct. Portmeirion Village, located near Porthmadog, just outside the Snowdonia National Park boundaries in North Wales, looks something out of a fever dream. This picturesque coastal village isn't quite like other Welsh villages. There are no residents, cars, school, or bank here. Alongside its unique architectural heritage, the ticketed site features 2 swanky hotels, self-catering cottages, an indulgent spa, gift shops, cafes, restaurants, and an authentic Italian-style gelateria. Cult classic series, The Prisoner, starring Patrick McGoohan, was filmed here in the 1960s, with the village providing a surreal backdrop. It was also home to the Eclectic Arts and Culture Festival No. 6 for a number of years before it wrapped up in 2018. Dublin Castle is the historical heart of the city. Built in the 13th century by King John of England, it served as a military fortress, a prison, treasury, court of law, and the seat of English administration in Ireland for 700 years. Today it's used for important state events and presidential inaugurations. The buildings of Dublin Castle were added throughout the centuries, with styles ranging from medieval to Georgian times, made from bare stone to fine plasterwork. Only one complete tower remains standing from this era of the castle, the Records Tower, minus the battlement that was a neo-Gothic addition in the early 19th century. However, below ground, one of the city wall arches and some original Viking ramparts are visible in the subterranean chamber. Halong Bay has some 1,600 islands and islets, and is famed for a spectacular seascape of limestone pillars. It is because of their precipitous nature, almost all the islands are unaffected and uninhabited by a human presence. This 500 square kilometers area has around 3,000 rocky and earthen islands, which are typically in the form of jagged limestone pillars popping out from the sea, along with numerous caves and grottos, which blend together to display an extraordinary seascape. Home to a diverse population of marine and land mammals, fish, reptiles, and birds, this place will be more of a surprise when in Vietnam. The UNESCO Heritage Site of Pattadakal is a group of monuments, comprising around 150 monuments, dating back to the 7th and 8th century. There are 10 major temples in the complex, 9 of which are Hindu temples, mostly dedicated to Shiva, and 1 Jain temple. The special feature of this site is that the monuments here are a beautiful mix of northern and southern Indian architecture. Virupaksha Temple is one of the main temples in the complex and is also the largest of them all. The temple is an active house of worship. The Nandi Bull monument here is one of the main attractions. The city of Carcassonne, a magnificent medieval walled city and one of France's most famous monuments and one of the most popular places to visit in southern France. No wonder, as it is one of the best preserved citadels in the world, with over 2,500 years of history. Its Gallo-Roman military architecture, 3 kilometers of ramparts, 52 towers, and 4 gates appeal to the imagination of many people. The shallow-pitched terracotta tile roofs and red brick layers identify these towers as Roman, one of which is called the Inquisition Tower. The medieval Inquisition's purpose was to root out and prevent the spread of Cathars and Waldensians, followers of religious movements that were denounced by the Catholic Church. Parc Güell is one of Antonio Gaudi's most iconic works. He designed and built the 12-hectare landmark just before the outbreak of World War I, and it officially opened as a public park in 1926. When Gaudi originally set about designing and building Parc Güell, he didn't intend it to become a public park. Instead, he and landowner Eusebi Güell planned to build a modern housing estate with all the latest modern conveniences, like running water and heating. The location was unrivaled too, high above the chaotic Catalan capital with views over the sea and the plain of Barcelona. The Hypostyle Room, one of the emblematic features of Parc Güell, was originally designed as a marketplace for the residents of the estate. The room was created by drawing inspiration from Roman temples and has 86 winding columns. Yakushiji was constructed by Emperor Tenmu in the late 7th century for the recovery of the emperor's sick wife. One of Japan's oldest temples, Yakushiji has a strictly symmetric layout, with the main hall and lecture hall standing on a central axis, flanked by 2 pagodas. The main hall was rebuilt in the 1970s after being destroyed by fire and houses a Yakushi Trinity, a masterpiece of Japanese Buddhist art. The East Pagoda is the temple's only structure to have survived the many fires that have beset the temple over the years and dates from 730. It appears to have 6 stories, but is in fact only truly 3-storied, like the West Pagoda. Kinkakuji, Golden Pavilion, is a Zen temple in northern Kyoto whose top 2 floors are completely covered in gold leaf. Formerly known as Rokwanji, the temple was the retirement villa of the shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, and according to his will it became a Zen temple of the Rinzai sect after his death in 1408. Kinkakuji is an impressive structure built overlooking a large pond, and is the only building left of Yoshimitsu's former retirement complex. Kinkakuji was built to echo the extravagant Kitayama culture that developed in the wealthy aristocratic circles of Kyoto during Yoshimitsu's times. Each floor represents a different style of architecture. The White House is built on the northern clifftop of the Santorini caldera overlooking the caldera itself, the island of Thracia, and the vast Aegean Sea. But the natural beauties of the White House are not the only beauties to be found there. In fact, their architecture is famed the world over. The buildings along the cliff are largely whitewashed, in keeping with most Greek island architecture. But what makes the White House architecture stand out is its trademark deep blue domed roofs. These domes typically denote churches, like the Anastasis Church in the White House. The Spanish Steps are often mistaken for benches to sit, relax, eat, drink, and enjoy the view of one of the most famous Italian squares at the bottom. What's known as the Spanish Steps is the monumental staircase that connects the Church of Trinita dei Monti at the top of the hill to the Piazza di Spagna at the bottom. This festive little fountain at the bottom of the Spanish Steps is both beautiful and strange at the same time. It is a Baroque fountain of a boat built directly at the foot of the steps that greatly the magic of the area. The fountain was designed and constructed by Pietro Bernini with the help of his son Gian Lorenzo Bernini and has an interesting story. Bulguksa Temple is located on the slopes of Mount Toom, about 15 kilometers southeast of Gyeongju. Also known as the Temple of the Buddha Land, the UNESCO World Heritage Site dates back to 528 during the Silla Kingdom. The historic pagodas and foundations are the only original structures in Bulguksa Temple, while the rest of the temple are reconstructions. Among the many historical sites you can visit include Sukaguram Grotto, the golden-seated Vairocana Buddhist figure, and Dabata Pagoda. The Longmen Grottos are a series of Buddhist cave temples carved into the rock on the banks of the Yi River, south of the city of Luoyang, in Hunan Province, in China. The site includes some 1,350 caves and 40 pagodas, which are chock-full of statues of all shapes and sizes, ranging from 1 inch to the largest Buddha statue of 17 meters tall. There are as many as 100,000 statues carved out of the hard limestone cliffs, stretching for 1 kilometer along both banks of the river. The caves represent one of the finest examples of Chinese Buddhist art. Construction of the Longmen Grottos began in 493 during the reign of Emperor Xiaowen and continued through the successive 6 dynasties, including Tang and Song, for a span of over 400 years. The Summer Palace is known as the Imperial Garden Museum in China, as its purpose now is the preservation of national heritage material. It harmonizes plants and paths, water and land, architecture and horticulture, epitomizing the philosophy and practice of Chinese garden design. The Summer Palace played a key role in the development of this Oriental cultural form, and perhaps represents its pinnacle. The Summer Palace was used as a summer retreat by the Chinese royal family. During the hot Beijing summers, the imperial family preferred the beautiful gardens and airy pavilions of the Summer Palace to the walled-in Forbidden City.